Thank you very much. Bună ziua tuturor, nu am cum să nu spun și bună ziua totuși. De aici vin și este prima dată când mă reîntorc în industria nucleară românească cu atâția foști colegi de față. Mulțumesc mult pentru invitație. Thank you very much for the invitation and sorry for the few words in Romanian, but it is my mother country and it is the community I still consider I belong to, so it was really the need there. Today I'm representing the Nuclear Energy Agency, the OECD NEA, where Romania became a partner just a few years ago. I had a presentation prepared. I'm still waiting, okay, no worries. What I'm planning today, it is as NEA, even though it cooperates for a long time with the European Commission as well as with the IAEA, I'm not convinced it is so well known as the other two international organizations today, and I'm planning to have a very brief, and Mr. Valeca, I promise I'll be really fast on that. So to deliver a brief presentation of NEA, who we are, what we do, how do we work, and so on, and afterwards, to present few of the initiatives where I know also we cooperate with the other international organizations, and we consider are part of the efforts of the nuclear industry in order to at least preserve the role it may have in the future and in the climate change impact management. So, NEA reunites 33 countries seeking excellence in nuclear safety, technology, and policy. As compared to the other two international organizations present today in the room, the main difference, I would say, it is the fact that NEA really reunites experts worldwide seeking for excellence and for best standards, as the other organizations really have the capacity to come with regulations, with directives. NEA, as part of the OECD, rarely uses such instruments. In fact, what we do is really collecting the experience from all member countries, the like-minded countries, trying to provide the platform where all can be shared. Working in the framework of the OECD, even though NEA has slightly different membership as compared to the OECD. Okay, so we do have a presentation. Thank you. So, going back to, I think this is, yeah. So the main purpose, it is really to assist the member countries in maintaining and further developing through international cooperation the scientific, technological, the legal basis required for the safe, environmentally friendly, and economical use of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. I read it because we really want always to present it like that, as it is really important for our organization to be able to stay with these principles. How do we work? So, being part of the OECD, obviously the Council of the OECD, it is our governing board, but in terms of nuclear energy, the Steering Committee for Nuclear Energy, which reunites governmental representatives of all 33 member countries, are the one really deciding the program of work, the activities, the projects, all we do there. The activity of the Steering Committee, it is supported by different standing technical committees which are specialized in different areas important for our member countries and for the nuclear industry in general, which are safety, waste, decommissioning, legal economics, and so on. And we also have the data bank, which it is a really special body, which in fact is the depository of databases for the entire industry, for the entire nuclear industry. But besides what you've seen before are the official bodies, also NEA provides services to some other specialized independent organizations as Generation 4, IFNEC, MDEP. I won't go through all these, yes, as well as joint projects. I would say a few words about the joint projects. Why? Because while the most of the activities are decided and in the benefit of all member countries, through joint projects, member countries in a smaller group or non-member countries may really join their efforts in addressing challenges they consider to be common and of high importance. And there are a lot of such projects under the NEA framework where our member countries decided that details shall be addressed differently. And two of the ongoing joint projects, I think, are important for the entire industry, which are following the Fukushima Daiichi accident, are the BSAF and the SAREF, which really address highly scientific research information, really important for all of us. Now, among these projects, and where we think that it is crucial to address for the future of the nuclear industry, the three I want to mention today are the Nuclear Innovation 2050, Stefano just mentioned it before, which in fact, which focuses on the link between the research and development and industrial deployment. The in-pile fuel and material testing, which is in fact a product of the NI 2050 activities, and the NEST project, which is focused on future generations and on education. NI 2050. One of the issues which became more and more obvious besides the climate change and the role of the nuclear in the climate change paradigm, which even if it is addressed, it's not fully addressed. It is what we've already know that we cannot address, especially in the OECD countries, which are European countries and North American countries, most of them. We already have a major issue in addressing the nuclear cycle, which is, we all know, so long, and the need to identify the gaps. What does it stop us to implement innovation in real life, to have industrial deployment? And that's the main purpose of this project. And three major barriers were considered to be easy to be addressed at the end of the day, but major in that. And these are financing of nuclear. Yes, we all know that financing, it is a problem of this industry, and it is capital intensive, but also the construction timeline is long, and the private investors, as a result, tend not to get involved anymore. The regulatory framework, because the cycles you now have, which means a succession of stages, in fact doesn't involve the regulatory body from the very beginning, and in fact it adds a lot of time, and of course the availability of infrastructure. Nowadays, from innovation to industrial deployment, we have more or less 20 years, which lead not to just to late deployment, but really not being able to keep the pace with the dynamic of the world in the rest. And probably it is one of the reasons of nuclear need to reposition these days. The purpose of this project is really to put together decision makers, industry, research institutions, and regulators acting together in order to really address all these challenges, all these gaps, and shorten the processes. And also what it is very important, it is the very first time where, at least in our framework, the project was addressed not from the experts to the decision makers, it was addressed from the decision makers to the experts. They accepted such a need. So the chances to have it promoted really in real life sooner are there. And, no, sorry. As you can see already, some topical areas were established as being a priority, and I won't go through all of them. I will just showing the importance of international cooperation and of having all stakeholders involved. It is proved just by the fact that even this project, it is quite a new one. We already have results, which are the new multilateral framework for in-pile fuel and material testing, which in fact it is the result of NI 2050. Why? It is true it became urgent after the closing of the Halden facility, which especially the ones from research from in this room know that it has a huge impact on the industry, and it really required high speed in addressing it. And the solution, and we are really now working on different layers on this, it was becoming clear that it's almost impossible to replace Halden with a new facility. Just the construction time, not to say the investment required, proved quite fast that it is impossible to address it in a similar way as it worked until now. So the solution, it is international cooperation, putting together all the research facilities we have, which of course first of all meant to identify which are these facilities and how they can cooperate together in order to yes, okay, so I think cooperation is the word which generated this reaction. So the purpose is putting together facilities around the world, working together in order to address the needs we currently have, so to make the industry be able to go on even with the current situation. The blue little squares you see at the bottom of the slide are already projects which are implemented. The others are projects which have been selected, even though the framework is not ready yet. So, and in parallel, we are really working on this FISA framework, which will really enable everyone to address that. Also, talking about the future, we have to talk about education. Another reality we all know is the fact that we have a major issue with new generations joining the industry, and with the fact that we do not have, at least in this part of the world, even though OECD countries were the leaders, the promoters of the nuclear technology, nowadays it is more and more challenging to address new projects. We don't have new projects. We don't have specialists confronted with new projects. As a result, a certain type of knowledge, which is known as tacit knowledge, it becomes a real issue. And also what we know, it is the fact that not having projects will have an impact worldwide in these territories. And it proved again that international cooperation may be the solution. The NEST framework, in fact, what it does, it creates the premises for young generations to be exposed to real-life projects in different, maybe in some other parts of the world, as nationally, in many cases, this cannot be addressed. So it is a way, first of all, to educate and to ensure the transfer of knowledge to the new generations. On the other hand, to have specialists going further the industry. Again, it's considered to be a very successful project, and it was just started this year, February 2019. We have 10 countries joining with 15 parties. Already 4 projects have been selected and start working. And I will finish now just with the idea that the entire presentation was focused on the fact that we really consider that global issues require global solutions. We cannot pursue without international cooperation, and for sure NEA may provide such a platform, of course, together with, as I said from the very beginning, the other international organizations we are cooperating with. Thank you very much.